Welcome to Wisdom on the Front Porch. Subscribe, ring the bell, like, and share the wisdom. Pull up a chair and join us with today's guest.
So, one, I have to apologize. You would think I would know how to tell time by now, but with all of these time zones, I was an hour off. But we're here, we're live, and I hope, we're going to have the replay, so the questions will still get answered that were sent in. And if you have questions, go ahead and join us, and we'll start. Andre, go ahead and introduce yourself, because really you're going to be the man here. You're going to be the one answering the questions because you've got the most amazing way for communication. So I'll let you
Thank you.
introduce yourself here.
So, and I'm hoping some people that are joining us here have listened to the podcast and are sort of now curious because the offer is come and join us. And if you have personal questions, let's address your personal questions. So
Right.
it's another way for you and I to give and to provide, some help, some support. But my name is Andre Paradis. I'm a relationship coach. I'm an NLP practitioner. And that is the work that I use, the tools that I use to release trauma from the nervous system, because I always say I can't get anybody in a healthy relationship if you're carrying the baggage of your traumas from childhood, from other relationships. So this is essential. It's a huge part of it. I'm also an educator of effective communication strategies. Ugh, mouthful. But you understand, communication is the thing that we do the worst at in life, like especially between men and women, because we communicate and speak completely differently. People don't usually understand that at all. But it's really part of the collision, the frustration, the anger, because we have two different filters in the way we hear and listen to people. And men listen for things with the words, and women listen for things with the tones and the hints and the innuendo. So we both don't even know how that mechanism works. So we constantly just miss the boat. And stuff like he doesn't hear me. I try to tell him. I try to tell her what, because we literally speak two different languages, which just sounds ridiculous. Because we look at each other. I speak English. You hear the words, but man to man it works. Woman to woman it works. Who have the same style, but man to woman is very challenging. So that's a big part of the work. This communication, whether it's your love dynamic, your parent-child dynamic, right? Your teachers and students, or employer-employee. Like we suck at it. We just suck at it. So it's something that we have to practice a lot, because it's delicate. It's delicate a lot, and like I said, not understanding how we misunderstand, or they're not misbehaving. They're just filtering their own way. Anyway, so
Right.
that's who I am.
Well, that's a lot, but it's true. It's amazing how much we do filter through our lives that we've had growing up. I do have some questions that were emailed to me that
Beautiful.
we'll answer and get those done. But I thank you so much for being here. I thank you for those that are watching live or the replay. And hopefully we get answers to the questions you've been having, and maybe those aha moments that go, oh, that's why.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yes, that's why I'm here.
Yeah. So I'm going to start with the first question. And Terrence is here. If you want to put something in the chat, go
Yeah,
ahead,
thanks.
Terrence. And I'm sorry I'm not watching the Facebook Live, but I'll try and do that while Andre is answering questions. But one of the questions we had, and all they said was, how can I actively listen to someone without interrupting? Now, before you answer that, I found out that part of my ADHD is I interrupt not because I want to interrupt the person, but if I don't ask my question when I think of it, I forget my question and then it never gets answered. Or I'm so excited about connecting with that person. It's like, oh, we connect on this, that I interrupt to share something. So
Yes.
that's something I've had to work with and learned, and I still interrupt, sometimes on purpose. But how can you actively listen without interrupting somebody and still retain that conversation?
It's a big one because again, we have two
Start
different
with a tough
mechanisms.
one.
We have two different mechanisms in place between men and women. So women talk to connect, to be part of, to feel connected to the person, right? As a woman, women want to feel connected, to feel safe. So if you can get into conversation with somebody, blah 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 blah. The topic, the meaning, the point is not important. It's really in the moment, the connection, the conversation that makes a woman feel safe and connected, right? So whether it's with women or men, women talk to connect. That's how they connect. We do not connect by talking at all, right? So that's not how we do it. So we don't understand that when you're talking, you're trying to connect, and part of that mechanism, by the way, that makes you completely a normal woman, right? That's just how it works. The need to connect, the need to jump in. So you'll ask a question, right? And typically it takes a few seconds for a man to start answering the question because it's kind of analyze. What kind of is it, the depth of the question and sort of, I'll take it seriously because you're asking. Because when I'm asking, I mean that I need an answer, right? So we process the way that we think you are. Then also sometimes we have to check if the questions are trapped and how I'm going to answer or avoid the trap. I guess so. It takes a moment for most men to start answering a question, like 20 seconds or so, right? And often not understanding that as a woman, because you could just start talking when you talk to each other, it's like instantly, right? Instantaneously. She's not even done with a question, you're starting to answer. Not understanding the mechanism of man thinking about what he's about to say, often ladies will think, well, I guess he didn't hear the question and change the question, which resets him again to go, okay, wait, hold on, that's a different question, right? So often we get interrupted even before we start. I'm trying to answer the question, I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to words that interruption. So typically, if you do this to a man, like beyond 3 times, he gets mad, and you'll see him shut down and go, I guess she doesn't want to hear it. You're like, no, I really want to hear it, but you keep interrupting because interruption for us is not only rude, it's disrespectful. I'm respectfully trying to answer the question, and you keep interrupting me, right? But part of the nature of a woman is the connection, and so often, even when we'll start answering a question, you'll jump in with, "Oh my God, me too! I'd love to do that." And you go, "What? What? Why are you interrupting? Like, I don't need you to confirm what I'm saying. I know what I'm saying." But it's a female connection thing. So I'd say understanding, like you said, sometimes you're very aware you're interrupting, right? But often you're not, right? And you'll see the man clench if he gets interrupted too many times and he stops talking. And I'm going to say it, it's nobody's fault. It's not understanding these things. But the reason why most women get a one-word answer is because we were trained since childhood that no matter how I try to answer a question, I can never finish. So I guess you don't want to hear it. So you want the connection, you want the answers, you want the conversation to feel connected, but we've learned that you don't want to hear it. So, how was your day? Good. How was the meeting? Awesome. Well, like, what happened? You've been working on this for 3 months. They bought it. Like, you want all the juicy details to feel connected, but we learned that you don't want to hear it. It's because you keep interrupting. This is how it occurs to us, right? It's not really the truth. It's how it occurs. So just with the way I put it is ask a question and put a tape on your mouth, right? And just look in his eyes, be connected to him because he needs that, right? But don't interrupt. And that's really hard to do. It takes a lot of practice. I'm just saying. So that's a huge one, right? Let him answer the question. By the way, right? If you don't interrupt, because women will say to me like, so how do I know, when I get to ask a question? If he's, ask a question and he's talking, when is it my turn? I go, he'll tell you. Because if you actually pay attention and don't say anything, right? You could nod your head and agree with him that way, but make no noise. Don't Oh, me too. Like, no, none of that. If you want the answers, right? But at the end, the guy will talk. He'll stop, and then you think that's an opening. If you don't do anything, he'll continue to give you more, and he'll stop again. Don't interrupt, because he's processing, right? And then so you get 3 or 4 of these. Sometimes 5 if the question is profound. My point is, if you don't interrupt him, and really, like, even in the pauses in between his interruption, he's going to go deep. All the stuff you're trying to find out from him, what's really going on inside of him, will show up. And then, are you ready? This is so simple. We all do it. And we'll then announce when we're done. Men will finish with, that's what I think about this. This is what it is. That's it. We'll announce when we're done talking and answer the question. And then you can jump in. Does that help? Does that make sense? Do you see it?
That's really great. I never thought about that. So
Gotcha.
I can hear the question that someone is saying, well, what about the mansplaining? I just want a quick, simple answer, yes,
Yeah.
no, or is this a good idea? And they go into all of this.
Yep.
So how do you handle that situation?
Well, you have to understand another difference between men and women is that if you ask my opinion about something, my opinion is not just flighty. It's not in the moment. It's not what I'm, what's going on right now. A man's opinion is based on his character, right? His values and all the data that he's collected to back up, his values and his character and, what he believes to be right. Do you know what I mean? So you ask a question and you get a dissertation because what he's telling you, basically, it's a reflection. He's going to respond to his opinion is based on who he is as a man and everything that he values. So it often comes with dissertation, right? Because he's going to explain to you how and why and the data and the backup. And you're like, I just want to know yes or no, right? So sometimes you have to bring it down, but understand what's interesting about a man's opinion. Like I said, you often get a lot more 15 minutes later. Like I was just wanted a little input, right? But understand that if you cut him off again, interrupting his explaining or him trying to provide the explanation or the opinion, if you interrupt him, it's disrespectful. And the other thing that I see women do a lot. Again, it's not because you're mean, it's because you don't know, right? You don't understand the mechanism. But often if you don't agree with his opinion, it's very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable, right? You want to unplug, like, I don't think that, I don't believe that. Like that's weird. Like, but he's got the data, right? And often what happens is, and he gives you his opinion, even though, and then you'll say, I don't agree with that. Right? Like in that moment, if you say throw that in his face, you're literally saying who you are doesn't matter to me. Like you're rejecting him in that. Not rejecting his opinion, you're rejecting everything that he believes and
So it
everything he
becomes
values.
personal to him at that point.
It's completely personal for us. My opinion is personal, and I'll back it up. So don't be casual about asking my opinion. And secondly, sometimes with my wife, I learned this, right? She asked my opinion, right? And I said, okay, babe, so do you really want my opinion? Because I may not like it. Or do you want me to agree with you? I'm a smart guy. I figured that out, right? Because, she had something with a girl at work one time and she's angry and she's bam, bam, bam. And she's like, can you believe she blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, so what do you think I should? I said, do you want my opinion? Or do you want, you want me to agree with you? She's like, I want you to agree with me. I'm like, that bitch, she should be fired. I can't believe she's still up where you're like, and I just jumped right in like a fool, right? And she's smiling and see, was that my opinion? My opinion would have been actually the girl's right, and you probably, messed it up. So it's delicate, but if you blow a man's opinion away often, you reject him. And some guys will literally, if you're not in a relationship, but if somebody you work with, they may never ever talk to you again about their opinion because you were so rude to dismiss him. Just saying, it's that calibration.
Yeah, go ahead. I have something to say about that actually.
Please bring it.
That I learned. And that was if I just want to just get it off my chest, what a crappy day I had, who I worked with, whatever's going on. I start out the conversation is, I don't want you to tell me how to solve this. I just want to get it out of my system and that's it. So by putting that on there, he knows he doesn't even have to listen to me. He can just shake his head and agree or just sit there, not get up and walk away, but just stay there. And then I can just say whatever I want. And that's it. He doesn't have to listen. I just want that body there to get off my chest so I don't have to carry it around with me anymore.
Beautiful. I call that setting him up, right? You want to set the man in your life up, the one you care about, the one that could help you unload, right? I call it empty the basket. Just empty the basket of all this in you that happened all day, from the traffic to Susie at work and your boss, right? So you need to get that off your chest. We don't function that way, but you do. So if you understand that we're warriors and problem solvers instinctively, neurotically, you come up with a problem, we'll interrupt and go, well, did you think of that? Did you ask this? Yeah. And you're like, let me just get it out, right? So another way we don't understand. So you have to set him up because it's instinct, like you from connecting by talking, will be to fix, right? Did you and it'll get frustrated. So you go, babe, I had a kind of a rough day. I just need to get this off my chest. Please just listen to me. Just don't try to fix it. Don't try to help me. Just listen to me. What? They'll go like, what do you mean? Just listen to me. I don't want you to do that. So I have to, okay. and he'll look at you and nod his head, and you get to empty your basket, right? And the other side, you're like, "Oh, you're such a great listener." Mwah! You feel better. You did nothing.
That's right.
But you had to set him up, otherwise you'll be frustrated. The same way that we get frustrated when we get interrupted,
Oh, yeah.
right? So simple, but we don't really understand these things well.
No, and that's good. You brought up a really good point. Men want to fix the problem. Women just want to say the problem. They don't
Mhm.
always want to fix it. So
Right.
you have to make it real clear. Do you want him to solve the problem, or do you want him just to listen to you complain about the problem?
Yep.
You can
Set him
just
up,
reset your day. Yeah, that's really good.
and
So,
you get what you're looking for. You get what you want in that, right?
oh,
So
yeah.
because this is how we actually come and help each other, right? Understanding the magic, the dance.
And if women need a visual for that, think of it this way. When you explain to someone directions, you go the blue house on the
Yep.
corner with a big tree. The guys will say North Street, take a left and go on East Street.
Yep.
It's a different way of thinking. Yeah.
It's completely because for me, my brain works like as a GPS. So when I'm in the car, every time I make a turn, I know I actually adjust the compass. I know I'm going north. I'm going east.
Mhm.
Like every turn, I see myself from above, literally on the map.
Yeah.
Right. So if I'm here and I'm going downtown LA, I know I'm going southeast. So I know that it's that way. So whether I do it this way, I know where I'm going on some level. I know, you know what I mean? My radar is on, my compass is on. For the ladies, you don't have that option. You use landmark, right? The white
Yeah.
church, the fire hydrant, the Buick in the driveway. Like so you'll make your way through landmark. It's just different. But
It is.
again, these two different machines often frustrating because men will say go north for 2 miles and go left at the you know on Second Street, and she's like, what do you mean left? What do you mean south, east, west? Like, she needs the landmark. She'll tell you at the big church, and you're
Yeah.
like, what? No,
Yeah.
is it north or south? It's just funny. Like it's another big disconnect. Our brains function differently in every way.
Oh, very much. Even our GPS that we have, my husband has his pointing north all the time.
Right.
That drives me nuts because I want to see where I'm actually going on the map. So my arrow is always going the way I'm going. So different way of processing things.
I mean, in every way, and really, that's what I think is, the most fascinating, because we keep trying to make the other one act like us,
Yeah.
and that's like the stupidest thing you could do because with the fact that we're attracted to each other because we're so different, and kind of so the magnet of life is the yin yang, masculine and feminine, right? Or whichever temperamentally in opposition. That's always the relationships that function always completely opposite polarity. Right,
Yeah.
one's extroverted, one's introverted. One likes to save money, one's to save money. One's a hyper, one's quiet. One's a homebody, one's an adventurer. Right, like it's just if you look at your relationship, when I get to know somebody, I don't have to meet the other person. They're made to know who they are. They're exact opposite of that. Period.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
nature. But again, what happened is we get frustrated because they don't do it our way. They don't, and then we're trying to change them, which is when all the collision.
And we can't talk with each other.
Well, that's what I mean. That's when all the collision come because you're trying to make him act right, and he's trying to make you just understand, right? So as opposed to trying to change each other, which we do after we're entangled together, we're magnetized because we're different, but we're trying to like make them act like us, and this is where it's disrespectful. It's impossible. It won't work, right? And now you're colliding against each other, trying to make the other one something they're not. So it's not about trying to change our differences. It's to really embrace them. How do you get to dance and negotiate them? That's the magic. That's my work.
That's good. So we have another question because I know our
Yes.
time's going to go real fast. And this could be in the office, it could be in the
Right.
grocery store, anywhere that you're at. The question is, what should I do if I don't understand what someone is saying?
Good question. And I would just simply say, I'm not sure I understand. Can you rephrase that? Do you know what I mean? That would be sort of like respectful way to just go, I'm not sure. I said it all the time. I said it yesterday. Like, well, can you rephrase this? Because I'm not sure I get it. Because I want to answer the question properly. Right? So that's one way. Another way that's fantastic is if you just, ask them to repeat what you just said, or right. Like often you hear something and we don't fully grasp the details. So You could say, what I'm hearing you say is was that the question, right? So then they'll clarify. So that's how we stay in the flow as opposed to shutting down, getting embarrassed, and then what, right? Like I would always say go for like, can you, I'm not sure I get it. Can you phrase that or ask me again? Like, because I don't get it the way you just put it. Oh, da 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 da, right?
Yeah, that's really good. And I was just, I like that. And I like that kind of ties into this next question. There's actually two of them.
Yep.
Um, how can I express my feelings without sounding accusatory? But let's get it into this one. What are some strategies to resolve conflicts without escalating the situation?
Ooh, my favorite part. My
All
favorite
right.
part. You know how often I have that conversation? Because what happened is this again, if you and again, I just want to put this on everyone's radar. We don't speak and listen to each other the same way. So often when I say she's not hearing, right, and vice versa, right? So again, it's so incredibly delicate, and we're not aware of that. So what happened is, if you again, you know this, right? If you don't feel heard, right? I'm trying to tell him something, right? Then he goes over and says, "Stuck, this is stupid," because you're probably speaking a different language, which really what it is. So what happened is, what do we do, right? So we come together, right? I'm trying to get him to understand this, and he pushes back and he's defending himself, and then you go, he's not hearing me. So what do? We elevate the tone or the volume, right? Because we want to be heard. So now I'm saying the same thing louder, thinking that this is going to go in, but you're speaking a different language. Louder doesn't work. So he's going to defend himself or herself louder, right? And then we really try to top each other because we're so frustrated because we're not being heard. And what happens is it escalates, and then you end up saying stuff that you can't take back that could be permanently damaging to the relationship. So I always say no. The moment things go awry, right, and you get frustrated or somebody's triggered, right, we don't escalate. There's too much damage that comes from that and doesn't help. You'll never get anywhere. So I always say, take your corners, take your corners, right? Go take a bath, go take a walk, go to Home Depot, just take some space, right? Like calm down, right? And then you come back together when you're neutral. It's very important because it could take a half a day to get neutral. It could take to the next day. That could take 2 days, right? To get neutral. But if you're not neutral, you're going to escalate it again, right? So you come back neutral and go, okay, so what happened? How did we get there? You got so mad. I don't, help me understand, right? Somebody's trying to come in. So, and this is how adult people with a relationship, whose relationship function well, or literally approach themselves, each other like this with respect. They take their corners, they come back neutral, and talk like adults. And then, well, my dad used to do this, so we would hear my feelings. Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I know that. And now we fixed it, right? So this is, don't let escalate, take some space, come back neutral, and talk like adults. That's what I say.
That's really good. Because even when you're at work, you can take a break, go to the break room, go to the bathroom, take a walk down the hall, do something, go outside,
Yep.
come back in. Um, now, I do have a question, and thank you, Risa, for coming in. Somebody asked, and this is more on the business end of things, how
Yep.
can I adapt my communication style to different audiences?
Oh, that's a good one. Well,
Yeah.
so without getting too technical, this is a bit another layer of the work that you, if you understand that as human beings, we process information in 4 different ways, right? And so you want to adapt the way you talk to somebody in their, we call it preferred representational system. So most men are about 65% visual. Most women are more auditory. They process information auditory, right? And then there's people who are kinesthetic. I'm kinesthetic. That means I have to touch it. I have to learn by doing it. Don't explain it to me. I won't get it until I use my hands to do it. That's how my nervous system, So visual is a way to operate, to process information. Auditory, kinesthetic, through the body, through the experience, and or we call it auditory digital, which means using your brain so logic, right? So if you're talking to somebody, especially at work, you want to figure out what to prefer. If somebody's visual, right, you want to create pictures when you literally when you talk to them, right? Paint a picture, and you know you talk to somebody who's visual because they'll say stuff like, "You see what I mean? You see what I mean?" Right? They actually use words to express how they're functioning. So, like auditory people say, "I understand, I hear you," right? That AD person will say, "That makes so much sense." They understand it logically, right? And the kinesthetic person will say, "I feel that, I feel that, I feel that." So if you just pay attention a little bit now, the people around you, your wife, your spouse, the people you work with on a regular basis, your children, how do they process? So if you speak to them in their language, literally, there's instant connection, excuse me, instant connection, rapport. They feel that you know them, they don't know why, right? So it's kind of it's a beautiful, simple skill to learn. You have to like figure out. Again, my wife, when I figured out, God, it's funny. My wife is auditory. I had no idea. I had no idea. Not the way that I understand it now, right? So, and what happened is she would be watching TV and the commercial is always louder. I never noticed that. And she's like, "Can you turn it down? It makes me crazy." I'm like, "What the hell?" Right? So I turn it down. We kind of roll my eyes, like, like, really, what's the big deal? Right? But she's auditory, like just that noise. She'll be in the kitchen, hysterical, and I never understood. Like, what are you trying? You trying to kill us? She would cook without turning the fan on. Not because she's trying to kill us, because the fan makes her crazy. Right? Auditory. Like it gets on her nerves. It's like scratching your nails on a blackboard. So, oh my goodness, like she's just, I understand she's sensitive to noise that way. It affects her well-being and her mood, right? And then she always wants to go to the beach. And I thought, most people go to the beach for the water, right? And the sand and the sun. Not my wife. She goes to the beach where she loves the beach for the sound of the waves, the sound of I'm like, oh my God, I know nothing about my wife. But when I decoded that, now I understand. I turned the volume down on the TV on a commercial before she asked, right? Sometimes I go in the kitchen and go, "Baby, you're killing us. Can we just turn it on low?" Like a little bit of smoke out of the kitchen, please. She laughs. You know what I mean? And again, the ocean, I get it. It's soothing for her soul. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic. That's me. I have to do it with my hands to learn. Don't talk to me about it. Don't explain it to me. Don't try to paint a picture. I have to do it. And the audio digital is using your brain logical. Every computer guy is the AD guy, auditory digital. Like just they function from here up, from here down, kind of disconnected. And you'll tell because if you're trying to hug somebody who's AD, they stiffen right up. Like, why are you touching me? Right? Even shaking their hands for sometimes uncomfortable. Like they're from here up. They're just all function from logic and brain. So it's fascinating. My point is to answer the question is know your audience, especially the ones that are near you, and it opens a challenge to like again people feel heard and seen, and you get instant connection and rapport, and they're not sure why they just like you. It's quite brilliant. Okay, that was a long one. I'm sorry.
No, but that's great. And that reminds me, sometimes the fist bump works a lot better. You don't have to hug somebody, just do the fist bump. Like, okay, that's not invasive to me.
That's
Giving
plenty
me
for
a
some
choice.
people. Yep,
Yeah.
that's plenty for some
Yeah.
people.
Yeah,
I
not
used
spreading germs, so that was a good thing whoever came up with that.
and because I'm kinesthetic, I would force people to hug me. I would just hug people. They would put the hand
Yes.
out, and I would push it
Yeah.
out of the way and hug them. And they go like, "Okay, dude, what is that?" And I realized after this that my way is my way, and to push my way on anybody is rude, right?
Yeah.
So I got to respect the other person. So I get a hand out, I shake a hand. I get a fist forward, little fist bump. That's all they want, right? So,
That's very good.
but a kinesthetic person will come right into me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm a hugger. It's like you get
Yep.
around me, you're gonna know, I'll be
Yep.
respectful if you don't want that, I'll back off right away. But yeah, that's really good because if you don't know who your audience is, if you're talking to a large group, see how you can fit each of those factors into what you're
Absolutely.
talking about so you can reach everybody.
Yeah.
That's really good. There's another one that comes up that
Mm.
I think women do more than men do. I
Okay,
am
let's find out.
communicating my needs clearly
Like,
Why can't they understand what my mind is saying? Let me read it again. Am I communicating my needs clearly, or am I expecting the other person to read my mind?
boy, yeah,
Yeah,
that's rather feminine thing to do, right? Again, the explanation for this, by the way, is very simple. It's not because you're crazy. It's not because you're unreasonable. It's not because you're whatever. It's because you know this. Woman on woman, you have intuition and you can tell if somebody's not okay.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a girl
Hmm.
walks in your space, your girlfriend, and she doesn't have to say anything. You're like, oh no, right? And you go right up to her and go, "What's going on? You okay?" Whatever. Like you have a sense of things before they even are spoken outwards, right?
Drives my husband nuts when I do that. We go somewhere and I go, well, didn't you notice that he was just sitting there? It's like, yeah, so
So yeah, right.
like,
So my point is, you connected to people's feelings and emotions, and like really the mood that they're in at the time,
right.
and you have a sense of that. And as a woman, you go in kind of kind of trying to make it feel better. Do you know what I mean? So what happened is you expect us to do this because it's so natural for you. It's so automatic. It's so kind and loving, right? We don't operate that way. We don't pick
No,
up on people's energy like you do. Right? We're not connected, like we're not connection to people like you're connected to people all the time. That's to be the feminine connects to everything and everyone around her. Everybody's moods is on her radar, right? And the energy in the space is on her radar, right? If somebody's mad, that's all you can see. Somebody's mad, now you're afraid because what are they going to do, right? We don't have that. We don't have that. So often women think, God, how many times did I hear this? you know, he's known me long enough. He should know what. Really? No, that you expect him to be
my
like a
word.
woman, like your girlfriend, who would know. Your girlfriend knows what you need when you need it. He doesn't. We're not wired that way, so let's not make him wrong for that. And ultimately, on the other side, to answer the question again, how do I get, how do I know that I'm communicating? Are you getting the results? If you're not getting the results, he's not hearing you. She's not hearing you, right? Like, so
Yeah,
go back to what did you hear me say? Right? Let them repeat what they heard because they have a different filter, and you'd be surprised
yeah.
how often that's not what you said, that's not what you're communicating, right? And then you get clean again, calmly clean up. Like, what I really wanted to say. Like, that I'm not comfortable with this. I was wondering if maybe you could pay attention to that. Well, that's not what you said. But that's what I'm saying now. So if you don't get the results, you're not communicating, and it's a very, very common
Absolutely.
thing to do. So go check, ask what they heard, right? And make sure that you're clear. And that way, all the bumping together, the frustration, drops radically. And all of a sudden, instead of he's a jerk, he doesn't hear me, right? He's just a dude. And you have to approach him in a way that, works for both of you. You have to I always say this, his way, this is her way. And how do we meet in the middle? How do we meet in the middle? That's the
Good.
game all the time. That's all.
Right. Yeah, and the other thing too is some people with learning disabilities, and some of them don't realize they have it until they get a little older in life and they've,
Mhm.
picked up on enough of it. It's like, okay, I get that I do that. But they start talking in the middle of the conversation that's in their mind. They've already got everything out there and they just start talking, and it's like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
My
You got to
wife.
start from the beginning.
My
And it's
wife.
like, well, I meant this and this. And it's like, well, where did that come from? That wasn't a word of what you said. So, so that's something else. And then sometimes you get frustrated. It's like, man, I already told you a story. Now I have to tell you the whole story, start all over again. I don't remember my question now. And so how do you handle something like that? One, as the person receiving it, and two, as the person dishing it out, because maybe you don't realize that's what you
Well,
do.
yeah, my wife is like this. So she doesn't realize she's doing it. She actually has a conversation in her head as she's doing whatever she's doing, right? And then she gets into my space and now becomes like out of her head and out loud. She continues the story, and I go, "Babe, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was a preview to the whole beginning of that in your head.
No,
What? What?" And she starts laughing, like, "Oh my god!" Why? Because she doesn't realize she's doing it. She's just kind of compelled to go vocal in my presence. But there's
right.
a whole story for whatever long before. So I just pointed out, I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. That story started in your head, and you just, so, right, what are you talking about? And she laughs and typically goes, "Oh, don't worry about it." It's like, or there's a story, right? So now I can
Right.
be present and from the beginning and you go, okay, so is there a question here? Do you want me to help with something? You want my opinion? Oh, here it is again. You want me to agree with you? Which do you want?
There you go.
But you have to call it out because she doesn't know she's doing it, and it's not because she's not smart. She's auditory. The
Yes.
voice in her head is constantly going. You know what I mean? So I'm not. So now we understand the mechanism, and kindly, politely, I can say, I don't know where you're going with this. I don't know where this started, but I'm in the middle of the story. She laughs, and then she either addresses it or, you know what, it's not that important. So
That's good.
if I let her talk for 10 minutes and then say, I have no idea what you're talking about, that's where the frustration comes often. Because, like you said, now you have to start from the beginning if it's important. Right. And you just let me talk this whole time and you have no idea what I'm saying. Like that, just bring it. That's what I'm saying.
There you go. There you go. So I do want to remind our listeners that if you're watching live on Facebook, go ahead and put your questions in the comments because I can see that now. I've got my cell phone here. I keep looking at it. And if you're in the studio, go ahead and type your question in the message or raise your hand, down at the React there. You can raise your hand up and we'll call on you for your question. You can say it out. Say it yourself. More than welcome to participate. This is what we want, active participation.
Absolutely.
So I'll keep checking Facebook and try to keep a check on the chat. So let's go to another one. Let's see. I got quite a few questions here, so I want to make sure I get the ones that
the big ones.
Yeah. What are some effective ways to this one? I'm going to interrupt the question before I even start here. This one I do not have a problem with. My husband was mortified the first time he went to a store with me, and I just started a conversation with a stranger. And he says when we got out that he goes, "How could you do that?" I mean, it was the most craziest thing he'd ever seen anybody do. So here's the full question. What are some effective ways to start a conversation with a stranger?
Well, God, that's a whole other thing, but I think it's got to do with, I do it. I'm extroverted, so like you, I talk to everybody, anybody, everywhere. If there's somebody in my presence, in my realm, in my in line at the store, I'll turn around and smile and go, "Good morning," right? Kind of not so like so. I'm outward focused, right? Which tends to be it's a extroverted type personality, but introvert person like my wife, I go yin yang, right? She won't engage. She won't start conversation with strangers. It could get awkward. She doesn't know what to say. Often she'll question. She's afraid to sound stupid or to say the wrong thing or to put a foot in her mouth, so she doesn't, right? Which is more normal. If I think most people are more introverted and necessarily don't want to open the can. So I don't know how to say that question, for somebody who's, introverted. How do you start a conversation? Well, I actually taught some of this to one of my clients, and it says, all you have to do, honestly, if you want to connect with somebody and you don't know how to start the conversation, use your eyes, right? And just look at the person and compliment something that you see. I love your hair, I love your shoes, I love your purse, I love your pants. Those are cool. Where'd you get them, right? Right. Literally just line up a few basic questions and then let them talk. And what happens in that is you get the connection, you get the conversation going. But the fact that you're not jumping, participating, you're just pulling at them, right? Is flattering. They get to talk about themselves and they think you're cool. What a nice girl. What a nice person. But all you did is ask her a couple of questions, right? So that's the other way to do it, right? Just simple stuff in your head. Connect, so ask the question, let them talk. I learned this when I was a teenager. I learned this as a teenager. I was picking up this girl at her father's house, and he opens the door. The guy's a monster, and I'm like, gulp, gulp, right? And he's looking at me like, really, really, you're gonna think about really, right? Because I look like this. So I'm like, okay, so, and the first thing I do instantly, right? This is a beautiful house. How long have you been here? Oh, well, actually, blah, 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 blah. So, what do you do for a living? It was fascinating. I thought your daughter told me that, right? And literally, in 5 questions, simple question, he's talking away. He's flattered, he's connected. Now all of a sudden I'm safe and I'm good. And, you guys have a good time now. Don't be late, right? Like same guy, but I
Yeah,
pulled him out. I pulled him out by just being curious about his life and asking questions. So simple, really, so simple. Takes a little
that's,
practice if you're
that's really
introverted.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's like when you're standing in line, and this was my response to my husband. I'll actually tell you this. I said, we're all standing in line. It's a long line. We're all bored. We want to get our products. We want to get out of there. So why not talk and make the time go faster? We're just
Yeah,
people.
let's
We're
just
not
spend it.
having these deep, meaningful
Right,
conversations. We're just talking about, oh, I see you use the same brand of dog food I do.
right.
And
But again, it's the connection and the fact that
yeah,
now you're aware of the people in your space close to you. Da, 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 da. That's ultimate feminine.
yeah,
That's normal. That's normal. I
yeah,
think that's cool. But a lot of guys just go, "Why are you talking? Why are you talking to her? Why are you talking to him? Why, leave him alone." Because most men want to be left alone. Because
yeah.
for most of us who are
I know.
introverted and masculine, right? You're making me work if you're trying to make me talk. You're making me work. I don't want to talk. I'm standing in line. Leave me alone, right? So
Yeah,
understand your audience again.
yeah. And that's true. You say something to somebody and they're like, yeah, okay. Then don't talk to them. Go to the
Done.
next person,
Right.
Go
Nice,
to the
nice
person
try. Turn
behind
around.
you. Do
Yeah.
something.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
I talked with one gentleman. He's carrying dog food. He says to the lady in front of him, we're just waiting and it's kind of a
Right.
long line. And the lady in front of him says, oh, I see you have dog food. He's like, okay, Captain Obvious. And I could just see it in his eyes. I could see it in his eyes. And he goes,
Yeah.
well, you know what? And he reaches in his pocket. He goes, these just make the best snacks. And he pops some stuff in his mouth. I don't know if it's candy or what it is, but the woman is just she can't believe it. And I'm
That's
back there
hysterical.
busting a gut, laughing at it. And he turns at me and I go, you were so naughty. And he goes, you gotta be, And so we just kept talking, but
Yeah.
it's fun. So here's a really big one. And this can
Oh.
happen whether you're at work, whether you're at home, wherever it is, because sometimes this is tough, especially as your teenagers are going through their changes in life.
Mm.
Or maybe things have happened in the past and now you're trying to talk to somebody. How can I express my feelings without sounding accusatory?
Oof. Well, that would be the tone, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens, you know, again, if we get frustrated and you get your feelings hurt or something's not working for you as a woman, right? You drive your whole life through your feelings. With right, your feelings is what's driving everything. You feel good, you're happy, you feel bad. A minute later, now it's different, right? Like the weather on the East Coast, I'm going to say because I'm in California, like the weather on the East Coast, your mood will change throughout the day.
Mhm.
Like the weather, it's not your fault. It's just because your feelings drive you. So you're having a good morning, you're productive, and then somebody's rude in the cafeteria at work, and now you're mad because she always talks to me again. And all of a sudden, right, and then you feel better. You talk to somebody, and then you get in the car, somebody flips you off like all day long. So what happened is women tend to come at us, or maybe at anybody, when you're upset because something upset you, right? But instead of being neutral, you should always say, get neutral first and go, when you said that, that really hurt my feelings. So, when that happens, that was like, I found that a little bit insensitive, right? If you point the finger at you, as opposed to pointing the finger at them, which is what we do kind of naturally, right? You need to stop. You made me feel. I'm sick of that. I need you to stop doing that, right? We point the finger at them. This is how this is. It's received as an attack, and people will defend themselves. That's not what I said. That's not what I meant. What the hell are you talking about? That you know what I mean? You're too sensitive, right? Especially men will push right back on that because like if you, especially with men, if you attack, right now he has to protect himself from you as opposed to protecting you, which is his thing. So understand, men are warriors. Don't attack. Don't wait till you're so frustrated that you have to wave your finger in his face. But even a woman won't receive that very well at work, right? Things get frustrated. You don't. How I need you to right, like you don't lean on them. You just point the finger at you. Okay, so calm down, come back and go. So earlier we were talking, and then you said that thing. It really, came like it just me hit. It really hit me the wrong way, and I want you to know that because I'm not comfortable with it. Like, what? Oh my God, I did. That's not what I'm so sorry, right? Like this is how. But you point the finger at you. What happened to you when something happened? What happened to you when they said this? What happened to you when that was done? What happened to you? What happened to you? What happened to you? And present it neutral, and people will actually feel bad and kind of join. And you get an apology, or you get an explanation. Oh, that's not what I meant. I'm so sorry. Right? Seriously, and that's what adults do. But don't wait till you're about to crack to go ask for correction. It doesn't work well, and you get some pushback, and you think the other person's a jerk. That's what doesn't work. Right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, the more you can put it on that this is how I felt, or this is what I thought you said to me, and
It's
maybe
simple.
that's not how you meant it. So, was that how you meant it? Maybe it was.
Yeah,
Fine.
because the point of
But
the figure at
be
you, and
calm about it. Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
And anybody normal is going to want to, again, either fix it or like I say this to women all the time. Just instead of getting mad at your husband, your boyfriend, whatever, tell them how you feel.
Hmm.
What happened? It didn't work, right? And you'll feel guilty, and you'll say like, "I'm so sorry. You're right. I forgot. I totally forgot. I'm so sorry. That's on me." Because I hurt your feelings, right? I completely
Right.
forgot. I'm so sorry, babe. I'll try to do better. And or that's not what I meant. I was saying, I could tell you stories about miscommunication that she got her feelings hurt, and that's not at all what he's talking about, right? So
Right.
it's common. So go point the finger at you, right, and have the courage to start the conversation. Because mostly, what I see a lot is you get your feelings hurt, right? You get, and it may be just a small thing, but right, and you walk away, right? Because you don't want to start an argument, and if every time you bring something up, it starts an argument, so you don't, right? Because you want to keep the peace. You walk away 30 minutes, an hour, whatever. You feel better. You come back neutral, but now most don't have the courage to go. Can I talk to you real quick? Right? To reopen the can of worm to possibly
Right.
start a conflict. So you ladies will often get hurt, say nothing, walk away, get neutral, right, and come back and kind of forget about it. It's no big deal, except you don't forget about it. It goes in the petty file department.
Yeah. A month later, you pull it out. It's like,
And yeah, a month later, you get the whole
and that's
file
super
thrown.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll throw the whole drawer at his head of all the things, the petty files, they call it, and he has no idea. And this is when you go, like, what is wrong with you, right? Like, what,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? So it's
If
it's
it
it's an
bothered you
interesting
a
thing.
year ago and you're just now bringing it up, why didn't you
Right,
address it a year ago?
that's
Yeah.
not fair. That's not
Yeah.
fair. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Because if I don't,
I
you don't
wouldn't
tell
want
me.
that done to you.
Right. Well, if you don't tell me, how I'm affecting you that I don't know about, it's not really fair because I can't fix it. So
Right.
again, bring it back neutral with this is what happened to me when that happened. This is what I picked up. This is how I felt. I didn't like it. Is that what you meant? Or help me understand? You know, what? And you'll get an explanation or an apology. It's really simple.
Yeah, it is. And tell me your thoughts on this,
Yep.
because I don't know if that's still the way people communicate or not. Um, because when my husband and I first met each other, I mean, we knew what each other was thinking. We were just so in tune with each other. Then life happens, life
Yep.
goes on. And we were no longer in tune with each other. So we went to a counselor because, if something's broke, you go somewhere to get it fixed.
Sure.
And one thing the counselor told us was when something comes up that bothers you, but it's not, the other person isn't responding like they intended it to bother you, you repeat back to them. And you have to say, you both have to be able to do this. You can't just spring it on your spouse and say, this is what I learned at this 1 hour show I was at today. And that's what they said to do. No, you have to let them know. So we knew we were on the same front, the same floor, that when something bothered us, we knew that we would say, wait a minute, this is what I'm hearing you say. And this is how it's affecting me
Right.
emotionally. If it was something that I felt they were attacking me, or that I felt he was totally got
Dismissive.
what I was saying wrong,
Right. Right.
misunderstanding, and then you play it back. And it was so surprising how many times we both misunderstood each other. We
Completely.
both
Completely.
thought that it was something totally different than what it was. And once we were able to communicate that with each other, then it was easier to not misunderstand later. We started getting in sync with each other again.
Yep. Yeah.
And,
And even pick up, the habit of when you said that, that's what happened to me. Didn't like it, right? Like to not start some stuff, not start a fight, but to
yeah,
fairly say, "This is what happened to me." You have a second? Sure. I'd like to run something by you. It's important to me. What's up? You're not in trouble. But yesterday when this happened, when you said this, when you didn't say this, because you can hurt a woman's feeling by not doing something or not saying something. It's wild for us. Like, what? How? It's crazy for us. I didn't say anything. Yep, that's why she's hurt. What? Right. So
yeah.
again, it's the little stuff that we don't know. So if you don't bring it up, how can I fix it, or how can I apologize for it? Right. So it's the same story. Be
How can I
adults.
love
Calm
you
down.
if you don't
Right.
tell me how to love you?
Simple, right? But again, we
Yeah,
expect people, they know us by now. They know us long enough. You should know what I like. You should know how to talk to me. No, that's your girlfriend. A man is not wired that way.
true.
And we could learn, but you have to use the tools and
Yeah.
be fair about it, ultimately.
It's I have a funny story on that. My husband and I've been married, you know, well over 30 years.
You're
And
right.
and when he buys me flowers, he gets me these big, huge sunflowers, and they're beautiful flowers. And he thinks that's just the most wonderful thing in the world to buy me because he loves sunflowers
Ta-da.
to this day. And I don't let it bother me because I know if he's done that, he's really done something special from his heart for me because it's not something he does all the time.
Right.
To this day, he does not know that my favorite flowers are white carnations with pink carnations.
Mm.
To this day.
Why
And
does he not know that though?
I don't know. There's just something that's not there. But that's about the only thing that he doesn't know, after all
Yeah,
this
yeah,
time.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so if I say, why don't you bring me flowers? And I don't tell him specifically what kind of flowers, he will always bring me sunflowers.
Sunflowers. No, I get it. But I mean, and I would say, thank
Why fight about it?
the what?
Why
Why
fight
fight?
about it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
at the same time though, after I'm going to assume if you're normal, which I know you are, that it's
that's
still
debatable.
disappoint. It's still disappointing not to get the flowers that actually kind of you know make you happy or whatever
Yeah. But you
happens to
know
you,
what?
right?
I'm not disappointed anymore. And it took me a little while to get to that point, and it's like I don't really care because if he has bothered to bring
Right.
flowers home to me, it's that
It's a win. It's
that
a win.
love from his heart
It's a win.
that
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
important, not the object itself. And it's
Beautiful.
like if I want the flowers I want, I just go buy them.
Right.
In fact, I
So
just
again, it's a gesture, right? It's a gesture
yeah,
that
yeah,
that counts. That's what women say, right? It's a small thing. It's a gesture that counts. Well, there's one, but if the gesture is not quite, you know, to your
yeah,
liking, often you make the man wrong. And he's like, really, I bought flowers for God's sake. That doesn't count,
yeah,
right? It's the wrong flowers, right? And load the dishwasher, but I did it wrong. That doesn't
yeah,
count? No. So okay, so I'm not doing that again. You know what I mean? Like that's really how
yeah. And
you
that's
shoot
it.
yourself in the foot. You shoot yourself in the foot by misinterpreting, or I guess I want to say the gesture for it not being done right. And
Yeah.
that's the thing women are attached to a lot. That's often will have men stop trying, stop providing, stop giving because they can't do it right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
just a really good one, right? So flowers, whatever kind of flowers, just bring flowers. Thank you, babe. Mwah. Right?
That's right.
And you get more flowers as opposed to sunflowers again. As you know, I don't like
Yeah.
those. Like that would
It's-
be crappy.
Yeah. Why make him feel bad for something that he really tried hard to do?
But see, the way I would say it though, I would say, babe, I love the sunflowers. I know you like them too. I love them. I love them. Like, but you know what I like, right? I like,
I've
what'd you
done
call
that.
it? What'd you call them?
The pink and white carnations.
Pink one
But
carnations, like just make me my heart happy, right? I just want you to know.
yeah,
You're
yeah.
probably gonna get pink and white carnations at one
No,
point.
I've done that. I don't know what it is, but it's like, I don't really care at this
Beautiful.
point. Just knowing that his heart is there is important. So we're getting close to time, and I have
Yes.
one really important.
Oh,
These all have been important. Um, And Risa, thank you for saying that. Perhaps you are the sunshine of his life, and the
Ah,
sunflower reminds him of the sunshine you always carry. So sweet.
that's sweet. We
That
don't
is.
know, right? Maybe.
Yeah, yeah, could be. So the last question for today is how can I handle a situation where someone is definitely not listening to me?
Mm. Same thing I say, right? Like I'm sitting here, I'm talking to you, and I don't think you're listening, right? Sometimes we get distracted, right? For me, I know somebody's not listening because they're not looking at me. As a man, like if you're not looking at me, you're not listening to me. That's not true because women can actually have their backs to us and still listen. But again, for male on male, right, or male and female, if you stop looking at me, I go, I'll stop talking. I go, are you listening? You know what I mean? Oh yes, of course, I'm listening, right? So, again, addressing it politely when something goes awry and asking the question, just to like refocus so brings the person either into the moment because that's typically what it is. You're talking, but one of the things that happens a lot with you ladies, I'm just saying, talking to men is you have so many predicate. You use so many words before you get to the point, if there is even a point, right? If you're talking to us as a males, again, we listen differently, right? So when you're talking, we listen to what's the point? Because when we talk, there's always a point. Otherwise, we're not talking. So when you're talking to a man, understand that he's looking for what's the point? Why are you talking? But if you're talking for connection and it goes anywhere, right? He basically in about 2 minutes loses his interest because he's overwhelmed. He doesn't know what the point is. There's no point coming, and you see him he'll glaze over, and obviously you're like, like he's not listening. You know what I mean? So what you do often because the connection is for you while talking, and now you lose him. So what you do is you talk more, trying to bring him back. Not understanding he's a man. That's not how we do it. You know what I mean? So like talk more, and you'll push back. So know your audience again one more time. Do you know what I mean? It's like if again men are listening for what's the point, or they stop listening, and if you're upset, they listen for what's the problem, and often they'll jump in to try to fix the problem. Understand this? It's just automatic default. We're not jerks. We're not misbehaving, right? But if you don't get to the point, you lose me, and you're kind of torturing me. So if if you want him to connect us, you go, I have a point to see him. You see him fade. They go, okay, hold on, too many words. Okay, so my point is what I'm looking for, what I'm asking you, what I want, right? Right? Whoa, it's back. You know what I mean? If you're talking to a man, if you're talking to a woman, I find that would be unusually disconnected for a woman to not pay attention to a woman talking. But that happens if the woman is masculine and basically you're pulling her focus. So again, know your audience, but it's up to you to bring it back, understanding maybe they're overwhelmed with your words if it's a man, right? And or it's the wrong timing, it's the wrong place, they don't want to talk about it, right? It's just not appropriate. It's don't have the headspace, don't have the blah 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 blah. And understand it's a dance. Everything's a dance. So your part of the dance is your responsibility, and their part is to respond and or play with you. And if they don't, just that's okay. Just understand it takes two to tango, and sometimes we don't want to tango.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I like what you said, and you touched on it briefly, but are you talking at a time when they're so busy that they don't have the
Yeah,
bandwidth right now? Or are you
absolutely.
talking about something when they're having, we'll just say if someone's come home exhausted, or someone's at work that just has so much work going on. It's like, I really want to listen to you, but I just can't do that right now.
Yep,
And ask. It's okay to ask, do you have time to listen to me right now?
right.
Are you busy? What's going on? What's the situation?
Yep,
Or if
yep,
they're not listening, say, am I not being clear?
right. Am
Am
I
I,
confusing you? Am I
yeah,
confusing
yeah,
you?
what's going
Right,
on here?
totally.
And it's okay because you're trying to have a conversation.
Yeah,
And if you feel that someone's not listening, then find out why.
right.
Maybe, maybe you just started talking and you didn't realize that their mother died that morning.
Right,
And
or
they
whatever,
just,
right?
and they don't want to tell everybody all about it because one, they're trying to process it. Two, they don't
Mhm.
know everybody clouding, coming all over them and saying, oh, well, all
Yep,
this. I just want to get through this day because that's how I'm going to process.
yeah. I
Um, So
I've
yeah.
come home from work at times when I had another business where I worked 12-hour days, and I was with people on the phone all the time, all the way through. And I'm a good talker. Like it's easy for me to talk. Like I'm extroverted. It's easy for me, right? It's not so demanding as much as an introvert person. But I remember coming home a few times, in that phase of my life to my wife, where I would come home and she's a girl, right? So how was your day? What's going on? Connection. But I would warn her. I would walk in, like that happened maybe 5 times. I walk in the house, I'm freaking exhausted. I'm exhausted. I have nothing left. I've been talking all day and I just need to not talk and recover. So I'll go up to her and I go put my hands on her and I'm like, babe, just one of those days. And please, I have no words. So don't try to make me talk. Everything's fine. I'm okay. I can't talk right now. Please don't come at me, right? And she go, oh, okay, all right. And I'll sit on the couch, and it takes typically in those moments it takes about 60 minutes to recover, where I actually fall back into myself and go, hi, what a crazy day, right? So energetically, set people up, set people up. You want to hear this? You have the bandwidth, you have the space, you have the time. You know, are
Right.
you
Right.
working on something else? Like that's the polite way to approach somebody. Otherwise, they may shut you down, they may ignore you, they may glaze over, hurts your feelings. Now he's a jerk. She's a jerk. No,
Wow.
no, we have to get in the dance. Are you dancing with at the moment? Are they available to dance with you?
Right. Right. So as we're getting ready to close off, I'll give a closing thought, then I'll leave it open for you for closing thoughts.
Cool.
One thing I want to ask our audience for you to do is when you're in a conversation, I want you to ask yourself, am I truly listening or am I just waiting for my turn to talk? Because that really can affect.
Ugh.
Yeah, I see that
Yeah,
exhausted look on your
yeah.
face.
Happens all the time. Happens all the time.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Um,
I was in a workshop this weekend and I had to constantly say, I'm not finished. Let me finish my point. Like I was in the middle, you ask a question, I'm answering the question, and you like just jump right in. Like,
mm,
you ask a question, let me finish. Like, oh, I'm sorry. But a lot of people do this, right?
yeah,
they're not listening, they're just waiting to jump in. It's frustrating. And most people won't tell you this. I could stop you because I will, because that's my work. But most people will let you just interrupt. And then, like I said, they lose interest because you don't seem to care about their side of it. This is how you disconnect with people. This is how you like, people will think, yeah, waste of time talking to her, waste of time talking to him. Like, right? If you're not present and paying attention and just waiting just to respond to answer to squeeze in, you'll create some frustrations and you won't understand why people don't want to talk to you. I hear that all the time. Nobody wants to talk to me. I'm like, well, you're constantly interrupting and you're not listening.
that's right. Part of it too is if you're not waiting for them to finish, you may miss out on some
Right.
key points there. So I'm really thankful for you being here for answering these questions. My closing thoughts are
Yes,
addressing these questions requires self-reflection,
absolutely.
openness, and a willingness to engage in honest conversations. And by doing so, we individuals can identify is there underlying issues? How can we improve our communication skills and how, thereby strengthening our relationships?
Absolutely.
Um, yeah.
Absolutely. Also, I don't know if we have time because I have two gifts to the listeners because that's my favorite thing to do.
Okay.
I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to spread the understanding, right? There is a way to build healthy relationships in this modern world, but
Yes.
often we miss the boat, right? We miscommunicate. We're looking for different things. We project on the other person what they think they should know that we want, and then right. So we have expectations that we don't speak of, and when they're not met, we blame them for it. But you never said it, right? It's
Mhm.
oof, like we're human beings. We're really funny in a lot of ways, and sometimes it's completely tragic in the misunderstanding and the frustration. Anyway, so I do a lot of podcasting to spread the word, right? Spread the message. My funnest thing to do is to help men and women, especially because we understand that the difference between our brains and our chemistry and our operating system and blah 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 is so different. that this is often when we miss the boat, right?
Right.
So the love dynamic is highly calibrated because there's more emotion. So you could get really, really happy with that person and then really, really mad, right? The mood swings are insane. Not quite as big at work, though they still apply. But anyway, so as I'm doing podcasts, I do like 3 or 4 a week because I like to spread, I'm trying to spread the word. So you can do healthy relationship in its modern ways, modern world. So I have two gifts for listeners, and we'll let them qualify themselves.
Okay.
So if you're a information seeker, I call it, people are starting to go, what the hell is the thing with the masculine and feminine? Like, what? I'm a girl, I'm feminine, but people told me I'm not, right? Like, so what's going on here? So if you're a big information seeker and you're a lady, right? You ready? Gift number one. I'll let you self-qualify yourself. It's a book that I sell on my website. It's called, you ready? The Five Feminine Qualities High Value Men Find Absolutely Irresistible. This is my work with men. This is men speaking, ladies. This is men speaking, not my own, right? And you'll be surprised. It has nothing to do with how you look, your height, your haircut, none of that. It's the energy that you bring. Five qualities that men find irresistible. It's a workbook, 30 pages. You get to fill it out. I'll send you to my direct email. If you go to my email, Andre, A-N-D-R-E, coaching, COACHING, the number one at Gmail. And in the subject box, just write irresistible book. I'll send you a copy. You could print it, fill it up and play with it. It's really good information, ladies. It's really good stuff. And you'll get what I'm up to as far as helping decode, but really understanding men in that one. What men value. It's not what you think we value, right? It's not your looks as much as you think. So that's one. The second type of listeners that I notice are people who, like, we had a good conversation and some of the stuff resonates, right? People are like, oh, wow, yeah. Oh, that's what that was. Right? So if you resonated and you want to have a conversation with me, Andre Coaching, the number one at Gmail, and in the subject box, write talk now, right? If you want to talk to me, like a one-on-one like me and you are having, I'll send you my calendar link. You find a spot that's open, and we'll have a conversation about, typically people want to talk to me when they realize they're stuck in the loop. They're stuck in the loop, right? They keep attracting the wrong type of person. And after a while, it becomes what's wrong with me? Right. So that conversation, 15 minutes, we get to figure out what happened. How did you get in this cycle? That's again, space in childhood. Right. So if you understand that there's nothing wrong with you, you're just a product of your past. Right. It means it's fixable. That's the work. That's the, trauma release stuff. Then from the other side, from there, what's the dream life? You want babies and a husband if you're young enough? Do you want just long-term companionship? Do you want like blah, 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 right? So we'll talk about what the dream life is, understanding that your past is fixable. It's essential actually to get to the happy ending, I want to call it. But right? But honestly, like, and from there we'll talk about what that looks like. There's different ways to step into the work. But I'm going to say this all the time. It's what you don't know that messes you up. It's what you don't understand about your partner. Typically, the way they operate is where you don't know. Understand that when I teach women about man's instinct, about 50% of everything you take personally falls off. Think about that. That's a new life, right? Because it's not only with your husband or boyfriend, but it's with your father, the guys you work with, the uncles, your kids, your sons. When you understand a man's instinct, all these things that hurt your feelings, that you go, what the? Because from a woman's point of view, it's completely unthinkable, baffling. How can't believe, right? But you understand, oh, so instead of what's wrong with him, is say, oh, look, it's just being a dude. Oh, this is caveman brain kicking in. He's a hero. He's a provider. He's like half of the stuff that hurt your feelings fall off understanding him. Right. And same the other way around for men. Women always said he's so little, and why can I get so love? And it's the thought that counts. And we're like, what the hell does that mean? Because for us, we quantify everything. So we don't understand that one rose is as powerful as 2 dozens. Because it's gesture, the fact that you thought about it, right? We don't understand that. We think, 2 dozen roses is 24 points. Yeah, no, it's 1 point. Just like the one rose would be 1 point. Like, we don't understand that, right? So understanding a woman's instinct as man, understanding the connection that they have to feel safe, that's a huge one. We don't know that. But when you get that, guess what? You bring the best out of her. She's kind and loving and warm and feminine and radiant, and all the goodies that you want is right there. Because her instinct, you know how to bring her forward, understanding her instinct. That's the part that we all conflict on. So come and talk to me. I'll help you decode some of this stuff. And I'll do coaching one, talk now. You can get both gifts if you want, and I have other gifts if you want to have recordings and stuff. Just email me, ask me questions right there. Tell me I'm full of crap, but I'm not. All right, just come at me. I'm trying to help. That's it.
I love this. Thank you so much, Andre, for being
Absolutely.
here. This was such a great idea. For those who were here an hour earlier, I apologize again for
Happens.
never know what time zone I'm in, I guess.
Right, we're 11 hours
was
apart.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, my front porch friends and neighbors, for pulling up a chair with me and my guest today on Wisdom on the Front Porch. Now, if you've got value from this conversation, would you do me a favor? Leave a quick review, then share it with someone you know who could use some inspiration. It helps more friends find their seat on the porch. And hey, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what's next. Until then, keep the porch light on for new wisdom every time you show up. Your seat's always here for you on the porch.